What are your favourite books? My favourite books can be any genre, any author. They are books that grab me on the very first page, and just that make me feel relaxed when I know I'm in the hands of a good storyteller. And it pains me to admit it, but yours do fall into that category.
Well, thank you very much. I like. I've always said there's only two kinds of books. One where you get annoyed, where when you've got to stop reading it, and the other sort when you don't really mind. And that can be, like you say, it can be anything. It can be non-fiction, it can be history, as long as it's well written, an interesting story, well told. I remember reading A Place of Execution by Val McDermid. I was reading it on Christmas Day, waiting for our daughter to get off work and come and join us for Christmas. And I was annoyed when she showed up because I had to stop reading it. You know, it's that X factor that some books have and others don't. And I have to say, Blood Harvest was, I was on vacation in France reading it, and we had a date to go out to a fabulous restaurant for dinner, and I was kind of annoyed that I had to go.
Thank you. But also, don't you think that when you get to the end of the book, you want to carry the story on? Do you find that?
Yeah, I mean,
I want to know what happens to the characters after. That's always a sign of a great book for me.
yeah, and you have fun thinking it up. I mean, I think the test there is if you don't immediately start reading another book. There are some books that are so satisfying, you just give yourself a few days break.
I quite like to invent happier endings for your Reacher books, you know, like the more romantic ones where he sails off into...
That's how I knew I was going to be a writer, actually, because I found a book on a plane. You know, somebody had left a paperback book in the seat pocket, and I started reading it. It was really good. But the last chunk of it was missing. You know how paperbacks are sort of glued together in twelfths or whatever it is? The last chunk was not there. And I thought, now I'll never know what happened. Then I thought, you know what, I can just make it up. He made it up. Why shouldn't I make it up? And then I had real fun, like you said, just inventing my version of the ending. And I've done that with quite a few books. I just deliberately stop reading them and make up the end for myself.
I sometimes get readers rewriting my endings. They rip the last pages out, they rewrite them, they send them to me.
Oh, well, that's good. Just file them away and use them in the next book. Is it my turn?
I think so.
Okay, here we go. When was the last time you cried?
Ooh.
Wow, that's a question. When was the last... To be honest, it was about 2.5 years ago when Barack Obama was elected.
And were you crying tears of joy?
Tears of happiness that, that long national nightmare of George Bush was over.
Right.
And we had a new start, a new dawn. That was just a great, great night, November 2008.
I cried on Thursday night when you won the... No, actually, I
you
did.
didn't
No,
win.
I did cry, but I cried at P.D. James's speech.
Yeah,
because she was so lovely, wasn't she?
She was lovely, and even if you discount the writing entirely, she still had a very impressive life. As a woman in the 20th century, and as a civil servant, and as a legislator now. Even if you leave out the writing, she's terrific.
Yes. What are your favourite sports? I don't know that I have any favourite sports. I'm not a sporty person. My son is very sporty. My son plays tennis, he swims, he rides horses. My sports, I guess, are quite solitary. I sail, I ski. I'm not a team player. Are you?
I'm not a player of any kind. I don't do any sports. I like watching soccer, Aston Villa for preference, and I like Yankees baseball. And I can spend hours horizontal on the couch watching either one.
So how do you stay in shape?
I don't. I'm in terrible shape. Okay, next question. What is your signature dish? Does that mean, what do I cook? In which case that's fresh air because I don't cook anything. What do I like to eat? Does that mean what's my favourite thing to eat? I love, can we say brand names on television? I love pret-a-manger sandwiches.
So do I, actually.
Yeah, there's something about them. If I'm on
Crayfish
my
and
own,
rocket.
yeah, if I'm on my own, I'll walk over to Pret-a-Manger, and there's 2 stores within walking distance. I'll get a sandwich for lunch, a sandwich for dinner, the oat bar and the lemonade drink.
Right.
And it's relatively expensive. It's about like $24 for that, but that's my food for the day.
Is it true that 2 years ago at Harrogate you insisted the whole of the Trans World team went out for McDonald's? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I love being on tour, because they set up these very nice restaurant bookings and all that kind of stuff. And I say, no, we'll do the event and then we'll drive home and we'll stop at McDonald's on the motorway.
What is your earliest memory? Sitting in the front room of our house in Darwin, Lancashire, with my mother, waiting for my baby sister to arrive. I think it must be a false memory, because how did I know it was a baby sister that was going to come? But I think I had this vision at 2 years old, of whatever I was at the time, that she would come and knock on the door. And that would be how my baby sister arrived, but that's my earliest memory.
And have you figured out the difference now?
Yeah, I've got it now.
Yeah. Mine must be kind of similar than that, actually. When the next brother was born, and he must have been very young, maybe just a few months, and he was taking a nap. They put him in the carry cot in the dining room. He was taking a nap. And my elder brother, who at that time must have been 5 or 6, and me, who must have been 3, we went into the dining room and thought we were being helpful. We wanted to make sure the baby was warm enough, so we pulled the blanket up right over his head and tucked it in, and then went to tell our mother that we've kept him warm enough, and she very quickly, of course, dashed in and stopped him from suffocating.
Good. That's a very sweet story.
Yeah. Murderous intent from an early age. What would your autobiography be called? That's a question I've answered before, and my autobiography would be called Always Lucky.
I don't have the faintest idea. I've never even thought about an autobiography.
So?
I can't answer that one.
You can't? Come
I
on.
can't answer that one.
Take another
I'm
question.
going to have to. What's your favourite biscuit? I'm a bit of a snob when it comes to biscuits. It's not custard creams or rich tea or any of the sort of popular brand names. I tend to go for the high-end ones with oats and honey and raisins. And
You're a health freak, in other words.
I'm not a health freak. I just like proper food.
I like so many different biscuits. I like ginger nuts. I like Jaffa cakes. I think best of all, though, I like dark chocolate digestives.
They're not bad.
In fact, driving up here, I had to stop for diesel. And
that's not going to work, is it? Diesel on your hands?
No, but I use
No.
the gloves.
Okay.
I use that. I'm a wimp. I use those gloves that they give out. So I filled it up with diesel, went in to pay, and they had a packet, not the big packet, but the squat packet of chocolate digestives, and so I bought them and I ate them all between Leeds and Harrogate.
You do not deserve to be skinny, do you? You really don't.
It's worry. I worry a lot.
Have you done enough yet?
Is it mine? Here we go. Come on. One last one. What book is currently on your bedside table?
I'm glad you got that one, because I picked that out earlier when I was practicing and I can't remember.
I actually can answer that very easily because I don't have a bedside table. Oh. My apartment is extremely minimalist. It has a bed with no bedside tables. So had it been what book is on the floor by your bed...
You're a Kindle user, aren't you?
I have a Kindle,
so
yeah.
So what's on your Kindle waiting to be read?
The author's name I can't remember, but it's called In the Garden of Beasts.
Ooh.
It's about a family of American diplomats who are posted to Berlin in the early 30s during the rise of the Nazi Party.
Right. Actually, I've remembered what's on my bedside table. It's a crime novel written by my old English teacher's wife.
Okay. Okay.
She only ever wrote one. It's called If It Bleeds by Bernie Crosswaite, and I have to say it's good.
Okay.
It has sex in a lift and a ferret up a tree.
And you can't really beat that.
You can't.
No, if you get both of those in, it's pretty guaranteed bestseller status.
Have you ever done that?
What, had sex in a lift with the ferret?